What if everything Cody said about Coyote Pass was a lie? Multiple versions of the story have emerged, each one contradicting the last with new claims and shifting responsibility. Secret negotiations took place away from cameras, causing gaps in accountability and documentation. Betrayals behind closed doors became obvious through conflicting statements and changing narratives. The central question stays unresolved. Who's telling the truth? Cody, Janelle, or Mary? The dispute centers around the Coyote Pass property, a shared investment involving Cody, Janelle, Mary, and Robin. Ownership stakes became disputed when the property was reportedly divided without Mary's consent. Reports indicate that decisions were made secretly, followed by pressure on Mary to agree to terms she did not negotiate. A confidentiality agreement was also added, further limiting transparency. The situation produced a legal and interpersonal conflict involving property rights, financial contributions, and communication breakdown. Mary's version has stayed consistent throughout. She claimed that she was excluded from critical decisions and that the property division occurred without her approval. She confirmed that she was placed in a situation where she had to agree after the fact. Her response was to hire a lawyer, creating formal representation. From that point forward, she communicated only through legal means. This method aligns with standard legal processes where attorneys manage negotiations to ensure documentation and accountability. Her actions show adherence to structured legal methods rather than informal discussions. In comparison, Cody's first version places responsibility on Janelle. He claimed that Janelle told him he needed to either comply with Mary's requests or force a sale. This statement frames Janelle as a mediator who offered choices rather than issuing directives. However, the distinction between offering a choice and applying pressure introduces a contradiction. The framing changes the perception of control and responsibility in the decision-making process. Janelle's role adds further complexity. Although she allegedly had legal representation, she engaged in private discussions with Cody outside the presence of attorneys. This method eliminates formal records and reduces accountability. In legal disputes, direct contact without lawyers can lead to inconsistencies and misinterpretation. Possible motivations include attempting to maintain peace, acting in personal financial interest, or responding to urgency linked to a potential buyer. This behavior suggests that Janelle may have been operating between multiple positions, causing the appearance of dual alignment. The situation shows procedural issues. Property negotiations involving multiple stakeholders typically require lawyers to handle communication. Lawyers guarantee that all agreements are documented and enforceable. They also prevent manipulation by keeping consistent records. When parties interact privately, it creates opportunities for narrative distortion. Statements can be changed, omitted, or reinterpreted without verification. This lack of structure adds directly to conflicting accounts. A second version of events emerges from Cody's talk with Brian. In this account, Cody claimed that Janelle suggested selling the property without informing Mary and Robin. He also stated that Robin opposed the plan. During this discussion, Cody referenced a moral conflict, saying, "The darkness, the evil of divorce itself has cankered my soul." This statement introduces a personal justification while shifting attention away from earlier claims. Notably, this version omits the earlier assertion that Janelle supported compliance with Mary's stance. The omission shows a significant inconsistency. The pattern becomes clear through repeated study. Different narratives are presented based on the audience. Statements made on camera vary from those shared privately or during interviews. The variation includes changes in responsibility, purpose, and sequence of events. This provides a fluid narrative structure that lacks consistency. The key question arises: is this the result of confusion, or is it a planned adjustment of facts? Financial outcomes further complicate the problem. Janelle eventually agreed to a 25% ownership stake, despite the property being funded by 3 contributing parties. Under normal distribution, this would suggest a 33% share. However, Cody and Robin were treated as a single cash unit. This adjustment lowered Janelle's share and altered the distribution of assets. The discrepancy shows a financial imbalance that directly impacts equity. Mary expressed suspicion regarding the talks. She added, "There's probably something going on. I don't trust her." This shows a breakdown in trust between parties. Her choice not to directly confront Janelle was based on a belief that communication would not yield accurate information. This viewpoint is consistent with environments where prior interactions have resulted in perceived dishonesty or exclusion. The dynamics within the group mirror competitive alliance structures. Individuals form temporary alignments to achieve specific goals. This includes sharing selective information, withholding details, and presenting different views to different individuals. Such behavior is consistent with systems where resources are limited and goals conflict. In this environment, communication becomes strategic rather than transparent. A third version of events emerges during the tell-all. Cody stated that Janelle pressured him to force cooperation. He claimed she urged him to take charge and enforce a decision. This reverses previous comments where he was presented as having authority. The shift reframes Cody as responding to pressure rather than starting action. This contradiction changes the understanding of his role in the negotiation process. Cody's justification presents an ethical argument. He claimed that his actions were not a betrayal because he was not presenting himself as an ally to Mary. This reasoning says that intent determines ethical evaluation. However, the outcome stays unchanged regardless of stated intent. Actions that disadvantage another party in a shared agreement are subject to evaluation based on effect rather than declared alignment. Janelle's circumstances provide extra context. She was managing personal loss, financial responsibilities, and future planning concurrently. These factors created urgency in resolving the property problem. The need for liquidity and closure may have influenced her choices. Under such situations, people may prioritize immediate outcomes over procedural consistency. A structured evaluation of the individuals concerned reveals distinct patterns. Cody displays shifting narratives, avoidance of consistent accountability, and acknowledgement of negative purpose. Janelle shows strategic decision-making, inconsistent alignment, and actions affected by financial necessity. Mary follows formal legal processes, keeps distance from informal negotiation, and expresses justified distrust based on past interactions. The core problem remains the absence of trust. Each party works with independent objectives, leading to conflicting actions. Alliances form and dissolve based on situational benefit. Legal processes and emotional dynamics intersect, causing additional complexity. The lack of clear communication results in fragmented decision-making. The final analysis suggests that the situation was mismanaged legally, as proper procedures were not consistently followed. It was manipulated emotionally, with people reacting to personal pressures and interpersonal dynamics. It was also driven by self-interest as each party moved to secure their own outcome. The absence of structured negotiation allowed inconsistencies to emerge. The presence of conflicting narratives stopped resolution through mutual agreement.